Over the past 24 hours, the Ukrainian army's position has worsened markedly in all key directions of the front. While the Russian Marines finish off the remnants of the Ukrainian army units in the Kursk region, the soldiers of the group of troops under the designation Sever continue their rapid offensive in the northern part of the Sumy region. So, a few hours ago, military correspondents confirmed that Russian troops had taken complete control of the settlement of Basavka, in the northern part of the Sumy region. As of March 17, 2025, the Russian army controls 100% of the territory of this urban-type settlement. It is reported that Russian soldiers have already begun to clean up this settlement. Earlier, to the northwest of Basavka, the Russian army took control of another settlement in the Sumy region. We are talking about the settlement of Zuravka. It is noteworthy that this settlement came under the Russian army's control almost without a fight, during the chaotic retreat of the Ukrainian troops from the Kursk region. Currently, the Russian army continues to expand its control zone in the northern part of the Sumy Oblast, gradually moving deeper into this region. Against this backdrop, an authoritative military expert and retired colonel of the People's Militia of the Luhansk People's Republic, Andrei Marachko, made a rather shocking statement for Ukraine. In particular, on the morning of March 16, speaking to reporters, he admitted that Russian troops had begun creating a so-called buffer zone in the Sumy region. At the same time, Andrei Marachko stressed that this buffer zone will be at least 60 km wide, to protect the Kursk region from any rocket and artillery attacks. Thus, the creation of this buffer zone implies that the Russian army will take control of such a large city as Sumy. Given the fact that the city of Sumy is located only 30 kilometers from the border with the Kursk region, it is safe to assume that the main goal of the Russian army's offensive is precisely to take control of this large settlement, Andrei Marachko said. Over the past 24 hours, the Ukrainian army's position has also rapidly deteriorated in the Kharkiv direction of the front. In particular, the head of the Civil Military Administration of Kharkiv, Vitaly Ganchev, officially stated that the Russian army has accelerated its offensive pace to completely liberate the entire Kharkiv region. At the moment, the Russian army has approached Kupiansk at a distance of 6 kilometers, covering this city from 3 directions at once: the east, southeast, and northeast. In general, since January of this year, the Russian army has liberated 11 settlements in the Kharkiv direction of the front. At the same time, Vitaly Ganchev stressed that as soon as the Russian army liberates Kupiansk, a referendum on joining the Russian Federation will be held on the territory of the liberated districts of the Kharkiv region. War correspondents also began to record the Russian army's advance in the Zaporizhia direction of the front. In particular, on the morning of March 16, Russian paratroopers of the 247th Regiment completely liberated the settlement of Pyatikatki. Simultaneously with this, Russian paratroopers also managed to enter the settlement of Kamenskoye. As of March 17, Russian troops control 60% of this settlement's territory. It is also worth mentioning the Russian army's successes in Chasiv Yar direction of the front. In particular, on the evening of March 16, Russian troops launched an assault on the Ukrainian army's positions in the northern and western parts of the city of Chasiv Yar. It is reported that these are the last pockets of resistance of the Ukrainian nationalists in this city. In fact, the capture of these enemy strongholds will mark the complete liberation of Chasiv Yar. Realizing that the entire territory of Chasiv Yar could come under the Russian army's control at any moment, the Ukrainian General Staff and its NATO military advisors deployed large artillery forces to this direction of the front. However, military experts expressed confidence that these actions by the Ukrainian army and NATO forces would only slow down the Russian troops' offensive, but not stop the Russian army from achieving complete victory in Chasiv Yar. Meanwhile, the so-called European leaders, seeing the Ukrainian army's crushing defeat in all key directions of the front, continue to have hysterics and tear their hair out, with demands to cease hostilities for 30 days. Moreover, on March 14, British Foreign Secretary David Lammy officially called on Russia to agree to a 30-day ceasefire without any conditions. Russia's reaction to such calls from Britain was not long in coming. In particular, the deputy chairman of the Security Council of Russia, Dmitry Medvedev, rejected the British minister's call for a 30-day ceasefire in a rather rude and non-diplomatic manner. Britain and its foreign minister can shove the idea of a 30-day ceasefire back up their ass, from where it came from, Dmitry Medvedev said. According to Medvedev, the West will no longer be able to deceive Russia with so-called temporary truces, to continue pumping Ukraine with weapons. Moreover, Russian politicians also reacted quite harshly to the words of French President Emmanuel Macron, who said that the Allied forces have every right to go to Ukraine without Moscow's consent. According to them, if British and French troops, together with other representatives of the so-called European Suicide Club, appear in Ukraine, it will completely untie the Russian army's hands. They stressed that in this case, Russia will begin to consider this conflict as a real war. As a result, Moscow will begin using the whole range of its weapons on the battlefield, including the latest ballistic missiles of special power. Nevertheless, a member of the Civic Chamber of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Rogov, expressed confidence that all statements by European leaders about the future deployment of Allied troops to Ukraine are a bluff. According to him, without the support of the United States, European countries, including Britain, would not dare to take even one step. Vladimir Rogov claims that the armies of Britain, France, and other European countries are in a deplorable state. The Europeans and the British cannot even defend their own borders without the support of the United States. Therefore, you should ignore the bellicose statements made by European leaders. These are all empty words, uttered against a backdrop of their awareness of helplessness, Vladimir Rogov said.